Good morning, Internet fans. Ryan Perry here, Simple Biz Support. Today is Wednesday, December 2nd. Therefore, it is Social Media Wednesday. And as usual, I have the very talented Sarah Giametti with Pravaro Marketing. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's hard to believe that we're already in December. We're going to do, I think, 2 more shows. I forget when Christmas hits. If we're going to do 2 more shows or 3 more shows, and then that's it. We're rolling into 2016.
It's crazy. I can't believe how fast this year is gone.
Yeah, it's been a good year, though. Today, we're going to talk about how to gain retweets. So essentially, I put a tweet out on Twitter, and part of the goal is to get people to interact with you, hence the social and social media. And I guess, the key thing about that is, one, it lets you know that people are interested in what you're talking about. But number two is the fact that when people share your content, they're also extending their own credibility to you, because if my good buddy Joe retweets something, I'm going to go, oh, that must have value because I know Joe and I value what Joe has to say.
Right. And it helps you kind of fine tune your strategy in your content strategy as you're finding content, because we've talked about it before. Twitter, the ideal on Twitter is you're posting like 10 to 30 times a day because it moves so fast that you have to do content curation. And as you're doing that, the retweets and the likes help you figure out like what's working and what's not, what is valuable, so that if you can start seeing what people are not finding valuable and stop looking for that type of information. So it does really help you in fine-tuning your strategy, but it does also, on the flip side, it gives you a lot of exposure, especially if somebody who's got a big following retweets your content. It tags you, so you get exposure to their entire following.
Okay, perfect. As you know, I'm not a big fan of reinventing the wheel, so I love today's topic because we're actually going to take big data information. So, and I forget, do you remember the company that did this?
I do. Hold on. Track Maven.
Yeah. Track Maiden took big data information, and from there, they pinpointed 6 different ways that when you use these strategies, you're able to increase the number of retweets.
Right. So we'll start off with the very first easy one, is that tweets on Sundays get the most retweets. And I know Ryan had said when we were offline, it's like, but that's a football day. Exactly. People are sitting on their couch, surfing the internet, surfing their social media while watching football all day long. Obviously, that's in America. That's not everybody. But it is Sunday often is a relaxed day for people who, especially if they work a Monday through Friday job. They do fun stuff Friday night, Saturday night with their friends. And Sunday often is kind of the relaxed, sit at home, veg, and do nothing day. And so if you are a business owner and you're only tweeting Monday through Friday, you might want to readjust your strategy to start tweeting on Sunday and see how that works out for you.
All right, that's a good one because I am that business owner. I work Monday through Friday ideally, therefore I tweet Monday through Friday ideally. But I think it's important as business people that we try and understand it's not about us. It's really about the consumer and what they're looking for and what they want. And if we can spend a little bit of time on a Sunday, especially with all the tools that are out there like Post Planner and Hootsuite, and I forget the one that you use, we can make this very simple and easy, and then make sure that we're in front of people when they're actually viewing content. If you go to a social, a business mixer and nobody's there, great, you went out and you socialized, but if nobody's there, it doesn't matter. If everybody's there on Sunday, you got to show up on Sunday to some point, or to some degree, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So try it out, change your strategy for the next few weeks, and see if your retweets and your engagement pick up a little bit on Sundays. And that'll help you determine if you need to keep doing it. And if you're using content curation tools, it's pretty easy to schedule out that far to do Sunday and just keep it and do it for a couple months and see if, as we get into the new year and people are out of the holidays and re-engaged, see if that helps and increase your engagement.
Right, and that's a good point, because if you're trying to use December as a benchmark for trying something new, this may not be the best time, just because of everybody's moving and doing stuff for the holidays.
Right.
All right, what do you got for number 2?
Next one is the best time for retweets. So I've always preached you want to tweet throughout the day. When I say you do 10 to 30, like you spread them out evenly kind of throughout the day. However, big data suggests that you might want to adjust it so that a bulk of your tweets are in the afternoon and evening. So their data is based on East Coast time, and retweets start to pick up around 7 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m., and they peak at 10 to 11. And they're still really high all the way up until 1 a.m. and then they drop off. And that's East Coast time. So Ryan and I are in California, 11 a.m. or 1 a.m. there is 10 a.m. here. So it's not all that late. So you may want to adjust. Obviously, retweets happen all along, but maybe not do the middle of the night time and push it towards late morning and all the way into late evening, and see if adjusting your timing strategy ups your retweets and engagement.
Right. And the other thing that I know that I do is that the reality is if you're going to push out, I like to get around 15 pieces of content out on Twitter every day. And I do my best, because I curate all my own content. I do my best to provide quality content. Sometimes it's slim pickings. So as you're pushing content out, the other thing I would recommend is going, all right, if I know when the key times are that people are going to retweet, that's when I want to put my best quality content out, because it's going to have a better chance of creating more visibility for me.
Right. And you can also, if the content is slim pickings, reuse your own stuff. Like Twitter moves so fast. It's not like Facebook where if you put your blog article out 3 days apart from each other, people are going to see them that close together. That Twitter moves so fast that if you use your own content, and you should hopefully have a fair amount of content to pull from. Even if you've got 10 blogs, you can sprinkle that in, 3 a day. And if you repeat it 3 days later, you're not going to offend anybody, because high probability is a bunch of your followers didn't see it the first time.
Right, definitely.
So next up is hashtags. Hopefully you are using hashtags in your Twitter strategy. And since you are limited to 140 characters, this one's really interesting to me because I haven't quite figured out how this happens. They say tweets with 5 hashtags are retweeted a lot more than tweets with no hashtags. And the graph I'm looking at actually shows 11 plus, like has a huge number of retweets. I'm like, how do people have 11 hashtags? It's their whole dang tweet.
Yeah, that is, I don't know, so here's the problem with big data is that we are collectively bringing in a lot of stuff. And if there's a certain demographic that maybe is spiking the numbers a little bit and your business model doesn't fit those demographics, you may not want to incorporate 5 hashtags. Now, with that being said, test the theory and see what happens. It's ultimately, that's really what's important, because a lot of these people that are thought leaders in the industry, they're doing unique stuff like posting with 5 hashtags to see what the end results are, and then they're tweaking their message and their content accordingly.
Right. So 5 might be a little difficult, but definitely use hashtags and incorporate it into the message that you're writing. So whereas Instagram works a little different, you do both. You integrate the hashtags within the content plus add a few extras. In Twitter, you really want to have it incorporated as part of the message. So, this one we would hashtag Twitter, or, social media marketing would be a hashtag. So you do it as part of the sentence so it makes sense, easy readability. And that's an easy way to get a couple additional hashtags into your short amount of 140 characters.
Yeah, definitely. And it totally reminds me of the skit. I forget if it was SNL or I can't think of his name, but they did the whole hashtag.
Oh,
and
Justin
it was
Timberlake.
Yes, with Timberlake. And who's the late night host though? I can totally see as Fallon.
What? No. Well, yeah, it might have been Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. So anyhow, the whole hashtag.
Yeah.
So anyhow, these are all tips. They're from a black and white numbers point of view, they're legit. in your industry, they may or may not work, but maybe instead of 5, you find that 3 works effectively. So try something. We've got 5 minutes. I think we have 2 more tips to go. Is that correct?
3, I think.
Oh, 3 more.
We can do fast. So the next one is use images. Tweets with photos are most likely to get retweeted. So if you're only doing text and links, start incorporating some photos. And I know, like with Post Planner, it's easy to look up photos that you can use as your content curation that are quotes or interesting information, facts, things like that. So start incorporating photos into it because they do tend to get more retweets than other types of content.
Right. And the other thing that I really like about Post Planner is that if the blog article that I'm linking to has an image, it'll automatically bring that image in also. And then sometimes I don't like the images they use, so I can replace that image, or I can just delete it and send it out as a text, because I'm a big fan visually. So I try and incorporate video and images into a lot of my tweets, but I find I go too far on that. So I have to strip some out every now and then just to mix it up.
Yeah, so you definitely want balance to some extent. I mean, you don't want a perfect order: text, link, picture, video, text, link, picture, video, because then that gets boring. But at least make sure you mix in at all 4 different types. If you do 2 pictures in a row, nobody cares. It's fine. Just don't do everything pictures and neglect the other types of posts. If you're not doing any pictures, make sure you start incorporating some. The next one is number 5 is if you're going to ask people to retweet your content, which I don't typically use this strategy very often. I think it's a little
self-serving, maybe.
Yeah, a little self-serving, where you'd rather have valuable content that people do it on their own without asking for it. But if there is something that you want to ask people, maybe you're doing some charity event or a contest. A common abbreviation for retweets is RT. But the big data shows if you spell out the word retweet, you get way more engagement spelling out the word than using the abbreviation RT.
Okay. I think we can just blow past that one.
Yeah.
Very self-serving.
And the next one is number 6, use exclamation points to get more retweets. And this one's interesting.
Now, hold it. This has got really interesting information behind it. I already have a total strategy laid out just based on number 6 here.
So they're saying the more exclamations, the better. And this graph is funny because with 0, I mean, you still get retweets without them. You add 1 and it almost doubles. And then you add a second one and again, it goes up like 50%. Between 2 and 3 are the same. So, use 2 or 3, doesn't matter. And then going up to 4 goes up a little bit. 4 and 5 are the same. 6 and 7 are about the same. And then it jumps for 8, and then it jumps again for 9. Like, it's incredible the difference. But 9 exclamation points may not be your style. It's not my style. I'm not going to type 9 exclamation points. To me, it looks very unprofessional and young. So definitely you can take this one a little bit with a grain of salt, but just having 1 or 2, if you're excited about something, you've got an event going on, maybe something charity or contest, a big sale, think about inquiring it and maybe, or incorporating it and maybe not using Ryan's strategy that he has here.
Well, hold it. You haven't heard my strategy. Well, you've heard my strategy, but everybody else hasn't. So just based on big data, my goal is to just send out a tweet that just says retweet. And I guess I didn't think about the whole hashtag thing. So I guess I have to say retweet, or hashtag retweet. I got to do that 5 times with 9 exclamations on the back end. And that will give me maximum retweet value. I'll be crushing it.
Totally. That's a great
strategy. Crushing it.
Try that. And for the rest of you, don't try that because it's boring and nobody's going to retweet it. So those are some tips. Again, this is big data, and so big companies are influencing some of this. But definitely take a look at it and see which ones you think you can incorporate in your strategy to modify it a little bit in the next couple months and see if it improves your engagement and your retweets and ups your Twitter exposure for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the key takeaway is, look, here's 6 different ideas. Use them appropriate for your brand. And even if it feels uncomfortable, try it. You know, if you do a 2-week test of using 9 exclamation marks as an example, yes, it might feel uncomfortable because you've never done it before, but that doesn't mean your audience is going to rise up and just start abandoning your Twitter account. You may actually get more engagement, but if you don't step out of your comfort zone, you may never know. So I know big one for me is Sunday. I don't post on Sunday. I need to start posting on Sunday. So that's definitely something I'm going to be using right away.
Perfect. And look at the schedule too, the time of day that you're posting, especially if you're not doing too many and you're not hitting every hour of the day, then maybe adjust your schedule to be later in the day and not so much in the morning.
All right, perfect. Well, I think we gave some really good content today. I'd be curious to see people's response. Would love to hear what type of different ways you tested this and what the end results were. We are out of time today. Sarah, as always, I appreciate your time and energy. And we'll see you, Sarah, and everybody else next week.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Have a great day.
All right, will do. Till next week, everybody have a good one.